might hear me on the radio. Breaker, breaker, 19. Anybody got their ears on?
And maybe they're not that great of experiences.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just that we were privy to a bunch of private information.
Oh, well, yeah, don't share anything.
I'd rather not get into. The one thing I'll say, Art was a master at radio drama. I remember the one night I've retired, laying in bed, got the Art Bell show on. It was coast to coast, at that time. And this phone caller called in and identified themselves as 2782D4. And I thought, wait a minute, where have I heard that? And so he's talking and he says, okay, 2782D4, he says, where are you at, or what do you do, or something along that line. And the young voice replied and said, well, I work for the U.S. government. And he said, well, what do you do for the U.S. government? He said, well, I kill people. Okay. And at that point, I knew it was my son, Matthew. How old, I wonder, how old do you think he was?
He was young.
Very young, yeah.
12.
Yeah. But Art just played right along, took it serious, So he said, well, caller, 2782D4. He said, we have to go to break. Can you hang on? I thought, oh boy. So then before he goes to the break, he starts the bumper music. 2782D4. Works for the government, and he kills people. What is our government coming to? Like that, Then he goes to the break, comes back, repeats the same thing. 2782D4 is his identification number. He's a young man, works for the government, and his job is to exterminate people. And then he gets back on the phone with Matt. And before then, not too long, they transcend into time travel. A conversation about time travel, okay? But it demonstrated a couple things. First off, you could say, did Art know better? Of course he knew better. Here's a kid calling in to the Art Bell show. But Art took an interest in the conversation because Matt was creative in the way that he did it. I believe that was the reason why. But the other thing is that it gave Art the chance to demonstrate once again his mastership in drama over the air, And after that, of course, I witnessed him doing it over and over and over and over with all different kinds of guests, And he one of his, what is it, the famous words he would use would be, he'd say, interesting, or there's another word he used. Fascinating. Oh, that is so fascinating, that type of thing. He always had some sort of a description that would lead, if you did not believe it and you weren't excited over it, he'd push your button. He would push your button, and you would sit there and with your mouth open going, oh man, when they come back from commercial, I want to hear this. And of course, we still are friends with Linda Moulton Howe, and Linda was on the show just repeatedly. And I remember one time in particular, oh, this is funny. I went to talk to David in his room, and I walked in and I said something to him, and he said, hey, listen, I'm listening to Linda Moulton Howe. Leave me alone. Do you recall that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing, So, but he opened a door, like, for example, people were up late at night. There's a lot of people that are insomniacs. God, the television commercials for, Sominex or whatever the other sleep aids are, they know there's a target out there. There are people who just can't sleep. Well, a lot of them turn on the radio and they'd listen to Art at night.
Oh yeah.
And he'd take them all the way through the night if they couldn't sleep, and keep them really, I guess, not on the edge of their chairs, but on the edge of their beds, And I think that okay, here's the thing that Art Bell did. Art Bell opened the door for imagination. If that's anything, if we sit down and we watch television, and it's all laid out for us. The plot, the actors, everything. But when you tuned in to Coast, it was you, the radio, Art Bell, and your imagination. And I think that's what made it magic.